a harsh reality that I'm struggling to accept. If I could, I'd change the way I react to this situation, but the truth is, it's eating away at my self-worth. I feel like screaming, but instead, I'm left to pick up the pieces of my shattered confidence. TLDR. My boyfriend watches explicit content and it's really affecting my self-confidence and overall well-being. Edit. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not asking for him to stop completely, just to be more considered TIFU by having a lapse of concentration at a revolving door. Walking towards door, girl caught my eye, got distracted, went into revolving door segment. Oh shit, I'm digged to ass with some guy who is already in here. He looked back at me as if I just shat in his cornflake. My moment of utter chaos at the revolving door. I was strolling towards the revolving door when my attention was suddenly diverted by an attractive young woman. My concentration waned, and before I knew it, I was sucked into the door alongside an unsuspecting stranger. A look of utter disgust crossed his face as he turned to face me, and I couldn't help but think I'd just committed some egregious faux pas. The two of us were now in a precarious dance, frantically shuffling our feet in opposite directions as new arrivals streamed into the door. In a misguided attempt to diffuse the tension, I burst out laughing, but my overenthusiasm only served to make the situation more bizarre. My maniacal chuckle, eerily reminiscent of a villainous mastermind, seemed to suggest I was intentionally orchestrating this chaos. TLDR. A lapse in concentration at a revolving door led to an awkward encounter with a stranger and an overly dramatic laugh. AITA for changing my garage code after having to tell it to a friend. A friend did me a favor and moved a package inside my garage while I was on a work trip. When I got back I changed the code, pretty much because that was the habit instilled in me by my mother, not because Was I in the wrong for updating my garage combination after a friend used it? A friend I consider reliable helped me out by bringing a package into my garage when I was away on business. Upon my return, I decided to change the combination, largely as a reflex based on a habit instilled in me by my mother, rather than out of concern for security. However, when my friend tried to access the garage to play a harmless prank on me for my birthday, he felt betrayed that I didn't leave the combination unchanged for him. He claimed that I only trust him when I ask for help, but not when he initiates something himself. I'm not sure if I see it that way, do you? Edit. This question is more about the friend's perception and how one might interpret the situation rather than an objective assessment of right or wrong. Update. Since the question is more about the perception of the friend and the combination was not changed due to any malicious reasons, it could be seen as more of a misunderstanding rather than an intentional act to make the friend feel untrusted. TLDR. A friend helped out by accessing the garage, but felt betrayed when the combination was changed for a prank, leading to a perception of being untrusted. The people who died in the helicopter crash were more than their relationship to Kobe Bryant, and they should be treated as such. I understand that Kobe was one of the biggest NBA stars. I understand that he did amazing work in and outside the community. But those who lost beyond their connection to Kobe Bryant, the lives lost in the helicopter tragedy hold inherent value and deserve to be acknowledged as individuals. It's undeniable that Kobe Bryant was a legendary figure in the world of basketball. His contributions to his community and society as a whole are truly admirable. However, as we remember those who perished in the crash, it's essential to recognize that they were more than just acquaintances of a renowned celebrity. Instead, they were complex individuals with their own experiences, accomplishments, and stories. The overwhelming focus on Kobe's family and legacy has overshadowed the distinct lives of the other victims. It's crucial that we give equal attention and respect to those who were lost, allowing their stories to be told and remembered in their own right. Edit. This piece highlights the often overlooked aspect of reporting on celebrity-related tragedies, where the victim's individuality is frequently erased in favor of sensationalizing the celebrity connection. Update. As the world continues to mourn the loss of Kobe Bryant and his loved ones, it's essential to maintain a balanced perspective and acknowledge the humanity of all those who were taken from us. TLDR. When reporting on celebrity-related tragedies, it's essential to prioritize the individual stories and legacies of the victims, rather pos landlord. Had a couple instances of landlord staying packages, so I sent a package full of used cat litter to myself. Postal tracking engaged, wrote on the package Happy Holidays. 3 different colored duct tapes sealing the package so it was definitely tamper-proof. Video. TH. Dealing with a difficult landlord. In response to multiple incidents of a landlord allegedly stealing packages, I devised a unique solution. I arranged for a package containing used cat litter to be sent to myself, and had the postal service track its progress. To add a touch of festive cheer, I wrote "Happy Holidays" on the package and secured it with 3 layers of colored duct tape, ensuring its contents would remain a secret. To serve as evidence, I recorded the entire process on my phone. The package was scheduled to arrive the following day, but I plan to give the landlord a few extra days to speculate about its contents. It's highly unlikely she will be able to resist opening it, at which point she will likely face federal mail charges. This unorthodox approach represents a creative and lawful way to address the issue. I got into vet school. Not only did I get into vet school, I got into 2 vet schools. I have applied for 3 years to get into vet school. Finally, I did it. I have wanted to be a vet since I was 7 years old. I am now 27. Worked 20 years non-stop for this dream. Now I finally have. After years of perseverance, I've achieved my dream of becoming a veterinarian. It's been a long and arduous journey, but my hard work has paid off in the most incredible way. Not only have I received acceptance into 1 veterinary program, I've been offered a spot in 2 of them. 3 years of tireless efforts to secure a spot in vet school have finally yielded the results I've been striving for. From the age of 7, my ambition has been to become a veterinarian, and now at 27 years old, I'm on the cusp of realizing that dream. 2 decades of unwavering dedication have been the catalyst for this triumph. Throughout my academic pursuits, I've obtained 2 bachelor's degrees, which, despite their significance, were overshadowed by the intense competition and emphasis on GPA in the application process. Now, I'm filled with a sense of pride and accomplishment as I've overcome the rejections and finally received the acceptance I've been craving. I'm confident that I'll excel in my studies, striving to be at the forefront of my class and delivering exceptional care as a veterinarian. TIFU by having sex with the father of a woman I dated at a later date. Okay, so yeah, it's messed up. This happened years ago. So, here's the deets. A few years ago I met a bisexual dude who was around 25 years older than me. I was 23 at the time. We met through an app similar to TIFU by engaging in a complicated situation with a woman's father. So, this happened a while back, and it's still quite awkward to think about. Here's what went down. A few years ago, I met a 25-year-old man through an app, and we hooked up. We never met again, but things took an unexpected turn. Around 2 weeks later, I started dating a 20-year-old woman, and everything seemed fine. However, about 3 weeks into the relationship, she asked me to meet her father in a park, which caught me off guard. I agreed, and we were walking through the park when we stumbled upon him. The situation became extremely awkward, and we both froze as we realized who he was. The same man I had been intimate with just a few weeks prior. We exchanged an awkward handshake, and she brushed it off as nervousness. But things took a darker turn a couple of weeks later when she confronted me, visibly furious. I had no idea what was going on, but she accused me of being responsible for her father's bisexuality. Apparently, he had confessed to his family and told her to break up with me so he could pursue me. She hurled a plastic container at me, AITA, for wanting my daughter's boyfriend, soon-to-be fiancé, to know her dark secret before marriage. I'm the dad of a 25-year-old young woman who I love very much. I've been able to have a good relationship with my daughter and I enjoy my time with her, but there's one T. Should I be the one to reveal my daughter's darkest secret to her boyfriend before he proposes? As a devoted father to my 25-year-old daughter, I've maintained a strong bond with her. However, there's one aspect of her personality that raises concerns. She has been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD. Her behavior in elementary school was erratic and disturbing, and an incident of physical abuse towards her younger sister prompted me to seek professional help. Despite the challenges she faced, she received intensive therapy and support, which significantly improved her behavior as she grew older. Although her past issues have subsided, I've grown increasingly uneasy about her dating life. My daughter is incredibly charming and has an uncanny ability to attract men, often using manipulative tactics to maintain their interest. Currently, she's in a 1.5-year-long relationship with a kind, intelligent, and charming man I've come to appreciate. However, I'm not convinced she genuinely loves him. During our conversations about her mental health, she's been brutally honest with me about her lack of emotions and empathy towards others. When her close friend passed away, she confessed to me that her emotional display was an act, and she felt neutral about the entire situation. Her inability to feel guilt or TIFU by not realizing I had an extreme magnesium deficiency for 5 years. Over the past few years, I haven't been able to focus. I had resigned that there was something wrong with me, probably an old head injury, cancer, new onset of autism, too much TikTok, unchecked ADHD, or my mental decline was a mystery for 5 years. For years, I struggled to focus on even the simplest tasks. I thought it was due to a lingering head injury, cancer, or some other undiagnosable mental condition. About 5 years ago, I was prescribed amphetamines to manage what I believed to be anxiety, and I even attended therapy sessions focusing on mindfulness and adapting to my condition. However, my situation continued to deteriorate over time, and I eventually resigned myself to accepting that my mental state would never improve. After a recent seizure, I realized my condition had become even more severe. I found it difficult to follow conversations or even watch movies without feeling disoriented and confused. Colleagues and friends noticed my decline, and one even commented that it seemed like I wasn't fully processing the words being spoken to me. I couldn't even follow simple written instructions or retain main ideas from paragraphs. The situation seemed hopeless. During my morning routine recently, I stumbled upon a magnesium citrate supplement in my medicine cabinet. Out of curiosity, I decided to take it, noticing that the bottle mentioned nervous system support. In less than 6 hours, I experienced an almost unbelievable transformation. It felt as if my brain had been rewired to "I can't get a refund on my escape room? Okay, let me reschedule then." This might be a rarity for this sub, as I am the one who had the malicious compliance done to by someone else, but I had to respect it and thought it was worthy for this subreddit. Context: I own an Escape RO, the art of malicious compliance. I recently had the pleasure of experiencing a rare case of malicious compliance at my escape room company, which caters to a large number of tourists visiting the area for the weekend or on their way to the airport. As an escape room company, we have a strict policy in place regarding cancellations and refunds. We only allow refunds if the cancellation is made more than 24 hours before the scheduled start time. If the cancellation is made within 2 to 24 hours, we can only reschedule the booking. This policy is usually relaxed on weekdays, but on Saturdays, it's particularly relevant due to our high booking volumes and staff commitments. I received a call from a gentleman with a thick Scottish accent earlier today, inquiring about his booking for about 2.5 hours from then. He explained that his group was running late with other activities and asked to reschedule for a later slot. I checked our schedule and found that we had no available slots for today. He then requested a refund, citing their return to Glasgow that night and uncertainty about their next visit. I explained our policy, emphasizing that our system only allows reschedules due to the time frame and that, given it's a Saturday, we couldn't provide a refund so close to I took away all the towel seat reservations at the resort. I was on holidays in an all-inclusive resort. First day, we couldn't find any lounge chairs by the beach or by the sea. Fair enough. We arrived in the afternoon. Next day, we go to find a spot, but upon my recent all-inclusive resort visit, I made a bold move. I removed the towel seat reservations that had been plaguing guests. The first day, I understood that finding a lounge chair by the beach or pool would be challenging since we arrived late in the afternoon. However, the following day's experience left us disheartened. We struggled to find an empty spot, only to discover that most chairs were staked out by towels. As we continued to search for an open chair, we came across a vacant spot that seemed to be held hostage by an unattended towel. The injustice of the situation was evident. Many of these towels remained in place for the entire day, never being occupied by their owners. Determined to put an end to this practice, we decided to take matters into our own hands on the third day. We removed the towels from 2 loungers, and to our surprise, we were able to enjoy our time in peace. However, our tranquility was short-lived, as an older couple soon arrived, claiming the chairs as their own. Their assertion was backed by a resort attendant, who promptly asked us to vacate the premises. The encounter left a sour taste in my mouth, and I decided to take AITA for not treating my wife like an equal parent by telling her she has no say in the way I bond with my son and also calling her homophobic. When I, 37M, was 17, got my then girlfriend, 16, pregnant with twin boys, her parents didn't want the babies to ruin her future. Was I in the wrong for not treating my wife like an equal co-parent by telling her she has no say in my bond with my son and also calling her homophobic? I recently reached out to my adult son, Liam, after he came out to me as gay and introduced his boyfriend. I didn't have any qualms about accepting him and his partner into my life. My relationship with Liam had always been affectionate, and it didn't change after he disclosed his sexual orientation. I still enjoy having him sit next to me on the couch, his head resting on my shoulder, while I put my arm around him. When I married my current wife, 5 years ago, my older children were already teenagers, and they would often join me on the couch for movie nights. My wife never expressed any discomfort about this. However, my relationship with Liam's brother, Lucas, is different from my bond with Liam. My wife doesn't seem to have any issues with me showing affection to Lucas in the same way I do with Liam. Lately, Liam visited me again, and we watched a movie together. My wife expressed discomfort with the affection I showed him, such as hugging and kissing his forehead. She asked me to stop doing it and said it made her feel tifu by not knowing what black coffee is. So with a new patio in the back garden being done, we have a local handyman there doing his thing. Naturally, I offer to make him a drink, to which he replies black coffee. Now, being a clueless, tea-drinking Brit, I assume black coffee. A humbling experience. My black coffee blunder. As our backyard renovation progressed, a local handyman was hard at work. I wanted to show my appreciation for his efforts by offering him a drink, so I asked what he'd like. In response, he mentioned black coffee. Assuming it was a particular brand or style, I searched our cupboards but couldn't find it. I decided to make him a regular coffee with milk instead, thinking it would be the closest match. When I apologized for not having the specified coffee, the handyman chuckled, but I didn't catch the joke at the time. I handed him the milky coffee, and his expression immediately fell. The awkward silence was broken when he said, "Cheers, mate," with a hint of disappointment. This exchange repeated itself throughout the day, each time I made him a milky coffee in response to his request for black coffee. Eventually, he left, and I was left to wonder what had gone wrong. It wasn't until later that I realized my mistake. Black coffee simply means coffee without milk. Now, I'm left to face the consequences of my error, and I can only imagine the handyman's amusement at my lack of understanding. TLDR. I mistakenly gave someone who asked OOP's dog ate her neighbor's drone. Neighbor takes her to small claims court, which ironically is the best thing that happens to OOP. Original, by you, Dead Drone 999 in our legal advice, not sure what to do. Earlier today my neighbor came pounding on my door screaming obscenities. My neighbor's drone flying antics have finally caught up with him, literally. His dog attacking drone was destroyed in my backyard, and now he's suing me for damages in small claims court. Little did he know, this was the best thing that could have happened to me. The drama began when my neighbor showed up at my door, furious and spewing obscenities. He claimed that his $900 drone was destroyed by my dog, and I had to pay him on the spot. I refused, and he left. However, he wasn't done yet. He called the police, claiming that I refused him access to my yard to retrieve the drone. That's not true, he never even asked. A couple of hours later, the police arrived to retrieve the drone, which was still in my yard, but my dog had moved on to more interesting things. I'm worried that my neighbor might try to press charges against me for destruction of property or sue me. Would he have any legal standing if this goes to court? My neighbor has a history of flying his drone low over my yard, teasing my dog, and ignoring my requests to stop. He even flew his drone close to hitting my dog once, prompting me to call the police. They asked him. Mom told me to leave, so I did. Law enforcement got involved and she lost everything. This happened when I was 15. My mom was, let's be real, she probably still is, a mentally, emotionally, and physically abusive narcissist. Some highlights are when she was teaching my twin sis. When I was 15, I made a decision that would change everything. After living in a toxic environment with my mother, who was a narcissist with a penchant for physical, emotional, and mental abuse, I decided to take a stand. Our house was a mess, both literally and figuratively, and our relationship was strained. I had been subjected to her cruelty for far too long, and it was time for me to break free. The catalyst for my departure was a visit from our guests, who seemed to bring out the worst in my mother. She used them as a means of controlling our behavior, making us feel ashamed and guilty for not meeting her expectations. I decided I had had enough and spent the day outside in the nearby woods, where I felt a sense of freedom and escape. When I returned home, my mother made it clear that I was no longer welcome. Her words were laced with a venom that I had grown accustomed to, but this time, I chose not to stay. I packed my bags and hiked a few miles to a friend's house, where I was welcomed with open arms. My friend's father, a kind and caring man, offered me a place to stay as long as I needed. My mother, however, was TIFU by missing my own graduation. I was supposed to graduate with my master's degree and had invited my whole family to attend my graduation. The only problem was that I told them all that my graduation was on Sunday because I actually thought it was on Sunday. People booked The graduation fiasco. I was all set to walk across the stage and receive my master's degree, surrounded by my family who had made the trip to celebrate this momentous occasion. However, I made a catastrophic mistake. I had told them all that the graduation ceremony was on Sunday, when in reality, I thought it was on Sunday myself. In retrospect, it was a recipe for disaster. Relatives from far and wide, including cousins from across America, had booked their flights and made arrangements to attend. This morning, while catching up on social media, I stumbled upon images of my fellow graduates in their caps and gowns. It was then that I noticed posts from the school's official account, highlighting the day's events. I sheepishly retreated to my inbox, where I had a crucial email from the university, sent weeks ago, detailing the graduation dates. The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I had missed the graduation ceremony. As I lay in bed, grappling with the sheer magnitude of my mistake, I couldn't fathom how I was going to break the news to my family. My mind was reeling with anxiety as I contemplated the impending conversations with my loved ones, who were eagerly anticipating the chance to see me walk across the stage. Tifu by loudly telling a female workmate I was going to finger her. So I, M22, work in a factory that is slightly short-staffed, so from time to time some of the office staff have to come through to the factory and help out. One of these office workers is a F18, Huil Cal. A colossal mishap occurs when a suggestive comment slips out. I work in a factory that's often understaffed, forcing office workers to lend a hand on the production floor. One such individual is Jess, an office colleague of mine. While Jess was helping out on the factory floor, I walked by her wearing rubber gloves. We have a history of exchanging good-natured banter, and Jess playfully observed that I resembled someone about to milk a cow. Feeling confident in my quick wit, I thought I'd cleverly respond by making a cow-related joke. However, my brain misfired, and instead, I blurted out, "I'll finger you." The factory's noise level meant that I developed a loud voice to be heard over the machinery, which just so happened to be momentarily silent when I spoke. Consequently, everyone nearby overheard and turned to look at me. At that moment, I wished the earth could swallow me whole, but I stood my ground and tried to clarify the situation. I meant it as a cow reference, not a literal statement. The tension seemed to dissipate, but now, my coworkers can't stop making cow-related innuendos and jokes. I've become a coworker kept stealing my lunch, so I started leaving fake leftovers to teach them a lesson. For months, I'd noticed my lunch would mysteriously go missing from the office fridge. I knew it wasn't just a mistake because my containers would be emptied and left behind. The office fridge had been the scene of a long-standing crime, with my lunch consistently disappearing without a trace. The evidence was clear. My containers would be left empty and spotless. I tried various methods to deter the thief, from labeling my food to hiding it in hard-to-reach areas. I even took a drastic step by bringing in extremely spicy meals, hoping to scare off the culprit. However, nothing seemed to work. Frustrated and determined, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I began bringing in containers filled with unusual and unappetizing substances. My first attempt was to disguise canned dog food as chili, while another day's offering was bright green mashed cauliflower. My pièce de résistance was a container of Jell-O mixed with tuna, carefully labeled and presented with the same care as my usual meals. To my satisfaction, the lunch thefts stopped within a week. Although no one admitted to the crime, I overheard a coworker complaining of feeling ill after lunch. I couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication. Was I being petty, or was justice served? Edit. Update. TLDR. A person's lunch kept getting stolen at the office, so they started leaving fake leftovers to catch TIFU by catching my dad perving on my girlfriend in the shower. This happened this morning, and I'm not really sure how to react to it. I'm home from university at my parents' place for the Easter break, and my girlfriend is staying with me for a few days. Not gonna lie to you. I'm reeling after catching my dad sneaking a peek at my girlfriend in the shower this morning. I'm trying to wrap my head around the situation, but I'm not sure how to react. I'm currently at my parents' place for the Easter break, and my girlfriend is staying with me for a few days. We just finished breakfast, and she went to shower while my mom stepped out and I tidied up the kitchen. Our shower has a somewhat old latch mechanism with a small hole at the top that allows for a glimpse inside if you try hard. My dad seemed to vanish upstairs, and I found it odd that the vacuum was suddenly making noise outside the bathroom door. We had just vacuumed the whole house the day before. Curiosity got the better of me as I saw him hovering outside the bathroom with the vacuum, which made me extremely suspicious. I decided to keep an eye on him, and he pretended to tidy up the vacuum and then disappeared into his room. However, his actions were quite telling, and I quickly pieced together what was happening. When my girlfriend emerged from the shower, I sat outside the bathroom door, still trying to process what I had seen. My dad's age and my girlfriend's age are quite different. Cop pulled me over and I called 911 and lied to get out of going to jail. When I was 19, I was running late to work in my tiny POS economy car, and on fumes of gas I didn't come to a complete stop on a right turn. Lights behind me, so I pull over. I know I've barely got any GA. One near miss in a tiny car. I narrowly avoided a run-in with the law when a cop pulled me over for a traffic infraction. In a moment of desperation, I made a phone call that would change the course of events. It was 1995, and I was driving my trusty, old economy car to work, running perilously low on gas. I had almost reached a gas station, but my tardiness was about to catch up with me. I was cutting it extremely close, and my primary concern was getting to work on time. The arrival of new digital phones, such as VoiceStream, now known as T-Mobile, had piqued my interest. The sales pitch had highlighted the phone's digital capabilities, claiming that its signal couldn't be triangulated or traced. Although I wasn't particularly interested in the technology, the salesman's words stuck in my mind. As I handed over my license, registration, and insurance card to the officer, an idea formed in my mind. I knew that if I were late to work, I'd be in serious trouble. My employer was notorious for being extremely strict, and I couldn't afford to be absent. Seizing the opportunity, I quickly dialed 911, reporting a suspicious incident at AITA for medically tattooing my child under the recommendation of a doctor. Hear me out. I, 31F, and my husband tried for 5 years to get pregnant. Testing eventually revealed I have eggs of fucking steel, and without medical help I'll never get pregnant. So that's what we did. Gee, the decision to medically tattoo my child, was I wrong? My husband and I tried for 5 years to conceive. After fertility testing, we discovered that I have very resilient eggs and would never have gotten pregnant without medical assistance. We underwent IVF, and 9 months later, I gave birth to beautiful fraternal twin boys, Jack and Adam. However, Jack was born with a condition that requires regular injections. Without going into detail, we devised a schedule to ensure the shots were given at the same time every day, initially with my mother-in-law's assistance. But when she mistakenly administered the medication to the wrong child a month ago, we had to take further action. Fortunately, everyone involved acted promptly, and the situation was resolved without any serious consequences. To alleviate the concern of mixing up the twins, our doctor recommended a medical tattoo. This involves tattooing a small freckle, about the size of a pencil eraser, on a visible area of the child's skin while under mild sedation, similar to a dental procedure. The doctor explained that the freckle typically fades in 2 to 3 years, by which time the children should have developed more distinct features. We decided to go ahead with the procedure. Our son now has a small,